And I want to give a special thanks to Marion and Nina for doing the Zoom just prior to this one, because what a great way for people to learn about products, to hear the stories. Many of you that have been in Shackley for a while, I mean, we really got educated with the stories. And a lot of that is missing. And I mean, I'm always fascinated with the stories. And the stories were fantastic tonight again. And learning new things. I mean, I've known the importance of vitamin D, but boy, you talk about a prevention against flu, a prevention against cancer, prevention against so many things. It's so vital. It's incredibly vital. And so just learning that. But what a great asset for you guys to be doing this, because as you bring in new people, and if they want to learn about Shackley, what an opportunity. You just send them to the Zoom. My goodness, think how much time you save versus you trying to educate them all on the products that they can learn on that Zoom. It's just phenomenal. And I'm going to volunteer or someone you could talk to who has an incredible story, and that's Michelle Matson with her son.
Cool.
And maybe inviting her to be doing that Zoom and be great to hear. I mean, it's just a phenomenal story. It really is. So
Awesome.
a lot of good stories out there to hear about. So I want to thank all of you for the questions you've been asking. And I can just tell things are really starting to bubble more and more as people get more into what it takes to build in Shackley. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I would like to hear from some of you. I know the McLean's been talking to them quite a bit. And Dick made an incredible, as I mentioned last time, video of they got started in Shackley and what they did in 2 minutes. And it's really, really good. And Dick, if you want to comment on that, because I know you've gotten that video out to some people and just asking them if they want to take a further look. And can you want to comment on that?
Yeah, it's still early because I'm only 1 week into sending that out every day. What I'm finding is that just sending it out, the majority of people, and these are friends, some of them longtime coworkers, haven't even responded. I don't say that to be negative. I love the fact that I did the video, had a one-on-one with someone today, and what Richard Brook talks about, the fact that having your story video recorded also gives you a, right already in your mind, a good way to talk to someone about, in person about it. That was really helpful today. But I'd say for me, at least, the jury's still out on the best way to get the video out. I've been sending it through Facebook messages to people. Roland made a good suggestion that I haven't really had a chance to implement yet. That's to call people in advance and, just say that I wanted to send them a video, and would they be good enough to take a look at it? That presumes I have their phone number. And a lot of the people I'm sending it to, the only connection I have with them is that I can send them a Facebook message. So it doesn't really address that. So I'm glad for it. I've had a couple of good responses. A couple of people have indicated, yeah, they want to, they'd like to hear about what we're doing. Yeah, that's kind of a mixed report. I'd be very interested in hearing from others who may have recorded a story video. If you're actively sending it out, what kind of response you're getting, and if it's working for you, what you're doing to generate a good response to it. Roland, I'm not sure if that's what you wanted to hear, but the truth in lending is that the percentages aren't the best as far as even getting a response. But that said, most of those are people I would have no contact with otherwise. So nothing lost. It's just a few minutes to send out those videos.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Nina, you have a comment?
Yes, I have a question. Because I've been mentoring with somebody with online marketing to doing this, exactly what you're talking about there. What did you send a message out ahead of time and get permission to send them the video yet?
No, at first I just started sending the video. Then I started sending a message with the video, and the message actually gets there because it downloads to them faster than the video does, saying, "Hey, I've just sent you a really short video. It's only 2 minutes. I really would appreciate you taking a look at it. You may or may not be interested in it, but I know it's been, it's something that's been a real blessing for Pam and me, and I want to share it with you." I'm going to start wherever I can calling these people first and getting their permission.
So can I share with you what you just said there is the second part of what I have not recorded my story because I've been hung up on what kind of a video to send. But why not start with that? But what he teaches is that this is a relationship business, and we know that. So you only have their Facebook Messenger, and Roland says, call him. John says, don't ever send a video out unless you've gotten permission from that person first. So if it's somebody that you haven't talked to for a period of time, you strike up a conversation on Messenger, and you get them going back and forth what you've been doing, just like you would with a normal person, and then say what you said in that last statement after you've built a little rapport, and then send the video. Because
that's really helpful.
The guy that's been telling me to do this, their business has jumped like nuts because it's still relationship. It's not spamming.
Yeah.
That's it.
And Roland, that's essentially what you said. It's getting their permission, whether it's through a phone call or through a message that they respond to prior to sending the video. So that's really helpful. I appreciate that because, I don't want to go through 300 people before I figure out a better way to do it. But I just thought, this was totally out of my comfort zone anyway, and I want to try something new. So that's what I've been doing. But you're suggesting a much better way to approach it.
And the other thing is that he had us do this is go and send a bunch of just the wave thing, because that will get their attention, and then the next day send a message. Okay? It's just something that Facebook has put on there because Facebook is still very much into relationship. They had people that were shoving all kinds of people into different groups, and they did a major cleansing this last week. Some people lost 2,000-3,000 people in their groups because they just were putting everybody into their groups and no relationship ahead of time.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nina. I mean, this is where we can fine-tune things. And the main thing is, what can we do to get the exposure out there and let a lot of people know we're in Shackley? I mean, there's just a number of things that can be done, but we've got to let people know, hey, Shackley's alive and well, and so am I. And this is where I'm going. And, of course, the McLeans, we've talked quite a bit, and they have a game plan, a strategy, a planning, a focus, a vision. As executives right now, but they will be key coordinators at the end of the year. And so a lot of strategy is going in frequently into their business to do that. So congratulations to them. And I know, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do know Heather has had one or two really excellent experiences with sending her video out. One just yesterday where there was a terrific response. So yeah, I don't know if she's already talked to you about that, Roland, but at some point you might want to let her share about that because it was really effective for her.
Please go ahead, Heather. You're muted.
Oh, right. Sorry.
You're on now. You're on now. Good.
Oh, good. Okay. Where we live about 10 minutes away from one of the largest refugee resettlement areas in the country. And our church has been very involved in that community. So anyway, to not make the story too long, there is a lady who is Burmese that I've met on a couple of occasions. I know she's been in the US about 8 years. And I've just had a heart for offering a business opportunity to these people who, are in many cases are coming in with nothing, even though you know, for some of them, they were professionals in their home countries and so forth. So anyway, I chatted back and forth with her over Facebook private message the other day, last week, I guess, and asked if I could send her a video. And I did that. And I mean, as you know, I did a couple other things, and a couple minutes later, she had already written back and said, yes, I want to hear about it. And so I met with her at her place last night and had a sweet, sweet time. And she's very connected here now that she's been in the US for 8 years, goes to huge church, knows lots of people. And anyway, so I did kind of a napkin presentation with her. And partway when I got to the, you know, so this is a network marketing company. When I got to that section, she said, oh, I had a friend who talked to me about Amway, but I told her I just couldn't talk to that many people. So I just kind of, I don't know, took it with a grain of salt and kind of kept going through the presentation. And by the end, she was rattling off all these different friends' names of people who she thought would be interested. And she was kind of, anyway, it went very well. I kind of pulled it away from her at the end and said, you know, I don't want to rush you into a decision or anything. Why don't you take a couple days, think about it, pray about it, and I'll get back with you. And anyway, she said, okay, great. And thank you so much for thinking of us. So anyway, I'm super excited about the opportunity to maybe break into a whole community of immigrants. So.
Wow. It's got to feel good. It's got to feel good.
Yep.
Fantastic. Get creative. That's very creative. Very good. Well, I would like Sharon Gale to go over the Shirley and Walter story and how it started and where it is. I thought it was fabulous what she did, what she said, the tone of voice, the confidence, and everything else. Sharon has been working at Costco for a number of years, and she's been the top one every year, again and again, with people upping their memberships or getting memberships. And maybe she's learned a lot of skills there, but I thought how she dealt with Shirley and Walter is a classic story. So you want to tell the story, Sharon? That is just too good.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So Shirley and Walter, I've known for quite some time. Shirley works at Sobeys and Walter is a chef. So I picked up the phone. I told Roland that I was texting about Costa Rica, and he said, put the text down and call him. So I got the guts and I called him and I said, Shirley, Walter, do you guys want to go to Costa Rica? And they said, what do you mean? We don't have passports. I go, well, it's either a yes or no question. It took 4 times to ask that question. And finally they said yes. I said, okay, I'll get back to you. So for 2 weeks into it, I finally picked up the phone again, coaching with Roland. And I finally called them on Sunday and I said, okay, guys, I'm just going to get to the point. Are you serious on going to Costa Rica? And Walter goes, well, we just got our passport. I said, good, congratulations. The question is, are you serious of going to Costa Rica? And Shirley goes, I'm not quite understanding the question. I'm like, it's either yes or no. Do you want to go? Yes or no? And Shirley goes, well, yes, we want to go. I said, okay, good. So can I ask you guys another question? And they said, sure. I got my permission. And then I asked, have you ever thought of Shackley as a vehicle for a second income? And Shirley said, yes, we have. I says, well, what's stopping you? And one thing led to another. So finally, we got our conference call coming up.
Thank you. There was also that part where you asked, I believe, what do you think it takes or something like that?
Okay. Yeah. So I asked Shirley, I said, Shirley, can I ask you another question? And she goes, sure. I go, how much does it take to invest in a business since you are going to be doing a business? Oh, about $500 or $600. I said, say if I told you it's going to be less than that, would you still be interested? And she goes, oh, yes, most definitely.
So thank you for that. I don't know if you heard the determination, but the politeness, but let's get to the point. I think so many people want to suggest, well, you could go to Costa Rica. You could be more involved. You could make an income instead of saying, do you want to? I think a lot of people are afraid to just ask the question, do you want to? Do you want to hear what I'm doing to make an income? Do you want to hear how it works in Shackley to make an income? Do you want to understand, or would you like to try some of the skincare? Do not suggest. Suggestions kill it. Well, maybe we could get together and kind of talk about it, and maybe you can learn a little bit. No, just ask people. Do you want to try it?
Roland, can I say something?
Please.
With Shirley and Walter, Shirley always made the comment, I don't know anybody. I then said, can I ask a question? And she said, sure. I go, do you know anybody who takes protein? Walter yells out, I take protein. I said, okay, good. Can I ask another question? And they said, sure. Do you know anybody who wants to take vitamins? And Shirley goes, oh, I know somebody that needs vitamins. I need vitamins. I says, okay. I go, do you know anybody that wants to better their household, get rid of all the toxic cleaners? Shirley goes, oh, I know a lot of people. So just those 3 questions alone, Shirley, are you telling me you don't know anybody? And she went, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. So she does know some people.
It's just a fear response when people say that. And I also like the way that you say, can I ask you another question? Can I ask you a question? Getting permission to ask the question is so powerful. The tendency is to say, well, everybody knows people. You've got to know people. Instead, one step at a time and asking the questions. So thank you for doing that. Sharon has made a decision to build a business in Shackley. So she's really stepping up to the plate, and congratulations for doing that. It's going to happen. Doing a lot of coaching. So Maggie, I don't know if you have any comments you want to make after some of the follow-up that you've done. I know I'd like to find out more about some of those people, but any comments on the follow-up of some of the people or the things that have happened? I know you had a great one-on-one with somebody the other night.
Just a lot of the people that were at the in-home ordered, and a couple were already members. And then I followed up with the other ones who weren't. And because, the January special, they also wanted to be a member. And then we had a snow day yesterday, so it was kind of good. I did a lot of stuff. And one of the ladies that was there checked a lot of things. She was interested. So I followed up, and then she said, actually, we're happy with what we're using because they're triathletes. And she said, I'm not interested in anything. And I said, okay, that's fine. Just kind of left it at like that. And then she texted me back and she said, well, if I become a member, do I have to buy something every month? And I said, nope, you don't. I said, if you buy it once and if you don't ever want to buy again, you don't have to. She said, well, actually, sign me up for being a member. I want some of the skincare. So.
You just never know. It definitely doesn't work when you try to persuade people. That's good. That's very good. And you had a one-on-one the other night with a couple, is that right?
Yep. Their daughter is actually one of my students, and she had mentioned that she didn't want her to be sick this year because I've had her for 2 years in a row now. And she was out sick, and I noticed when I had her, she was just snot and just was bad. So I contacted the mom and just asked her if she would be interested in hearing about a program that would help her be healthier and not miss so much school. And she said yes. I went to her house, and she wanted her husband there, and they were very interested.
And you're going to get back with them. They're going to get back with you on
Yeah.
what they want. That's great.
Yeah. I haven't heard from her since going over there, but if I don't hear from her soon, I will follow up and with her and see what.
How are you going to follow up? How are you going to do that? What are you going to say?
Well, I'll probably just call her up and thank her for meeting with me and see if she had any questions about anything we talked about.
Okay. Can I go over something quickly with you on that when you call her up? That's
Yes,
good
please.
that you pat her on the back first. That's always the number one thing to do is pat on the back. And then don't talk shackly. You can talk about the weather. You can talk about, hey, we had another snow day or whatever. How's your daughter feel about that? But don't bring up shackly because people just kind of bristle with that because they're afraid somebody's going to try to sell us something. So you only have to spend 20 seconds on something else. It's not a long time unless they, want to talk. Oh yeah, it took quite a while to clean the driveway out, and then let them talk. That's okay. But it must be something else. And then once again, I want to thank you for having a chance to sit down with you. Do you have any questions? And that's why you started.
Okay.
Do you have any questions? And Michelle, thank you for that, Maggie. Michelle, do you have any comments about some of the people you followed up with from the meeting that we had in New York?
Yeah, we've had great results. Everyone has purchased something except one. Tom is coming over tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, and that will be nice to have a one-on-one with him and then see what he wants to order. But we've had some good results this week with new people. We found one of Rob's daughter's cleaning ladies. We invited her over to our place because we decided to display all the products and then let people know that we have our products on display and would just love to have 20 minutes of their time. So we're getting people interested in coming to our apartment and see what Shackley has to offer. And this cleaning lady came. She was so excited to try it. She stayed at our house for about an hour, and she couldn't wait to use the products the next day. And last night at 9 o'clock, she's such a hard worker. She's from Peru, and she got home at 9 o'clock, and she sounded like she had so much energy because she was so thrilled at how the products worked and cleaned, how she didn't feel sick. No, it was just so cool to help someone like that. So tonight she's like, well, can you meet me at McDonald's so I can order the products I have 3 clients that let me buy products, whatever I want to use. And so she placed like $160 order tonight. And I think it's just going to be so cool to help her. And because she's just such a sweet person. And then I went there's a place in Long Beach that has it's like a play area for kids, and she does birthday parties, and it's really adorable. And I went in there and I just complimented her on what a cute place. I wish they would have had something like that when my kids were small. And she is trying the cleaning bucket right now. So we're just trying different ways to introduce the products to people, trying to be creative and having good luck. So it's been a good week.
That's great. I can't wait to hear what Tom has to say.
Yeah.
Tom is a mover and shaker. There isn't any grass that grows under his feet, believe me.
No, we had to schedule a time 10 days ago for him to come tomorrow, and I confirmed the appointment today, and he's said thumbs up, so he's going to be here.
Wow, you guys are doing so good. I want to thank you for the follow-up that you're doing with the people, and then, of course, looking for new people. That's very good.
Well, thanks to you and to these groups, and I love the hour before this. There's just so much to learn and to know, and it's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of you know, Maggie had 11 people at her in-home, and Michelle and Rob had 16 people at their in-homes. So that reaches a lot of people that way in a short period of time. Does anyone else have any comments on anything they're doing or any questions of anyone else? Well, I keep looking at what are the things that make Shackley really work, and you can feel that things are just really starting to bubble and starting to gel. I talked to Ruth Kuntz. I don't think she's on. She was going to be on tonight. She had time. But she has 5 people who are doing in-home presentations in her group. 5. How would it be if you had 5 people in your group who are doing at least one in-home a week? Can you imagine the difference that it would make? And she has 5 people. And, you know, she's going to be moving right on up past key coordinator and on up to master coordinator by doing that, because, and it all got started because she got a person doing some, and then another person, and once you get 2, you get the third one, just like we've seen in that YouTube, and then now more and more people want to do in-homes. It becomes a thing to do. So that's the way it works. But I don't care what the business is or what situation is in, especially today, in today's market, it's very, very important to learn the skills of leadership. I had a chance to talk to my sons and a couple of people in the winery today that I said, if you're interested, I can help you to become excellent leaders, which are not going to help just in the winery, but it's going to change your life. But we must talk several times to do that. But the issues are the same as they are in Shackley. Building a relationship, making somebody else's day, getting permission to ask a question, the same stuff, and they're not aware of it. And so they're going to be able to learn a lot, the young couple or young people, and so it's going to be very fun working with them as well. But what I come down to right now, with the economy, with where people are with the digital stuff, that there are just certain things that can make you really, really stand out in your business and make it zoom. But especially right now, there are 3 basic things that must be done to grow. Later on, it may change, but right now there are 3. And the 3 are, the first one is having that vision. And in talking to someone today, well, in fact, talking to Ruth, I said, what do some of these people want to do? Well, they want to definitely grow, and they say they want to be this and this and this. But I said, just based on what you're telling me about them, they do not have a vision. It's pie in the sky. And that's why they're not getting the most out of their in-home presentations that they're doing. They don't have a vision. This is something we could spend a lot of time talking about, but a vision is so important. A vision is where you feel it. I said, okay, you have this one person who says they want to go to the Alps. They've got a long ways to go to get there. They must be a key coordinator. They're not anywhere near that. But I said, and they're even having some thought about some doubts about even making Costa Rica. I said, do they really believe they're going to Costa Rica? Do they have a vision? Do they have the feeling about it? And she said, well, they say they want to go. I said, if you said to them that in the next 10 days, they're going to get free tickets to Costa Rica, anytime they want to go, for 10 days, they can stay there. Here's where they're going to stay. Do you think they would learn everything about the beach? Could they feel the sand between their toes? Could they find out about all the restaurants that are there? Do they have a service whereby you can rent a car at the hotel? They would find out all the details about it. All the details. But they don't have any details about Costa Rica. Nothing. So they're not going. They're not going. They don't have the feeling. They don't have the belief. It's just talk. And I said, you must spend time with them, helping them to either meet the challenge and really get a vision. Because if you take any one of these things that I'm going to take out of it, you will not build a business. I have not found anybody in the United States that has built any sizable business other than becoming a director, maybe a senior director, without having these three things. And the first one is having that vision. And the vision is not a goal. The vision is a vision where you feel everything going on. You feel it, and you don't know how you're going to do it, but you feel it. You got to get the feeling. It means, I said, is she looking at pictures and things like this of Costa Rica? No. Is she looking at a video every day about Costa Rica? No. She's not going. She's not going. Not going. The other thing is, of course, in-home presentations. I do not find people building to any extent at all without group presentations. Do we do one-on-ones? Yes. But without that group presentation, you just don't get the momentum going. I mean, think of the follow-up that Michelle and Rob have. Think of the follow-up that Maggie has with 11 people. And of course, you can get good at sitting down with people. And like I mentioned to Maggie, I believe, Maggie, I mentioned it to you about getting the products and taking it to that person the first time. Because it gives you another opportunity to sit down with them and let them talk, and they'll start to asking questions and talking about other people. Does it take extra time? Could you have the product sent right to them? But if they're in the geographical area, take the products to them. Have a cup of tea with them. I remember talking to a master coordinator in Shackley a number of years ago, and I said, how do you get people? And he said, I just have a cup of coffee with them. Just sitting down talking to people. It opens up the door and everything. So yes, we do that on an individual basis, but we must have group presentations. That's the second one. The third one is coaching. I do not find people really growing much without coaching. Any one of these three you take out, it's not going to happen. Now, as more and more people start bubbling and coming to the surface and getting involved and sending their videos out or whatever they want to do and start doing in-home presentations and so on, then it's going to raise the tide for everybody, because you do look around, everybody's doing it. It's just like on the call this evening or on the Zoom with some health testimonials and so on. It was asked by different people, well, how many do you take? Or I didn't know that vitamin such and such did that. That's good. But how many do you take? Well, I take 6,000 units a day. Really? You take that much? Yeah, I take that much. Why do you take that much? Because I know that's how much I need. I mean, wow. And I'm certain that person's going to go home and start taking, 6,000 units a day. And so when you go into a room or you're on a Zoom and everybody's talking about moving up to the next rank and so on, then we're raising the tide for everybody. But we're not at that point yet. Until we get to that point, it does take coaching. There are three different levels of coaching. The first level is, hey, just keep talking to people, just keep working at it, just keep doing it, just keep doing it. And so let's say, for instance, before I get any further in that, let's say, for instance, that a person has the ability to go from 0 to become an executive in about 7 or 8 months. That's what should happen. That's where Maggie is right now. And that's the goal. That's the focus. And she's working on the vision. We're working on her vision as well. And with the first type of coaching, that's what can be done. But with the first type of coaching, where we're just encouraging people, yeah, okay, answer a few questions and so on, it'll probably take Maggie about 5 years to make executive. Show me anybody who's making it to executive without some coaching in 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, 2 years. It's not happening. The other type of coaching is, okay, let's talk once a week and I'll answer some questions. We'll go over some things and I'll give some good suggestions as to what you maybe want to try. Maybe you want to try a video, maybe you want to do this, maybe you want to do that. With that type of coaching, instead of 5 years, we'll move it down to 4 years. The third type of coaching is what I call the fine-tune coaching, where it's almost daily, and we're going to get into everything. Your voice inflection, your pauses, your facial expressions, little things that are going to be missed with any other type of coaching. And with that type of coaching, we can go from 0 to executive in 7 or 8 months. It will not happen without it. And so congratulations to Maggie, congratulations to McLean's, and Sharon and Michelle want to do the fine coaching. And so I'm willing to do that, but that will ultimately save everybody a lot of time, because there's so many things that must be changed. Because many times we don't hear how we're talking. And that's why there's some things, also exercises that I give people to do, the role playing and so on, to listen to themselves, because they don't realize that they're saying need to, they're saying have to. They're not complimenting people. I'll give you an example. At the winery, I said, to make that winery an excellent winery that's going to stand out above all other wineries in the United States, is that you will produce an energy in there that when people walk in the door, they're going to be zapped with that good energy. They're going to feel it. Your staff will learn how to compliment people frequently. They will compliment each other working there. Compliments will be flowing. And you will learn how to compliment people when they walk in the door. Boy, you really braved the stormy weather. Thank you for coming. It's a compliment. I was talking to Gary and Anita Nepper today, and we went over a little situation, and I said, boy, we kind of did a little role play, and I said, in I think it was about a minute, I gave out 6 compliments. You're talking to somebody for 10 minutes, there should be 20 compliments. So many people want to instruct. Somebody says, well, I'm taking vitamins. Well, you know there's a difference in vitamins. They're not all good. Anything they say that comes close to a good thing that they're doing, they must have a compliment. I'm taking vitamins. Good for you. And there's a way to say that. You could say, well, that's good. See, with the fine-tuned coaching, it's more than, well, that's good. For a lot of people say, well, good. No, good for you. How would you compliment somebody if you realize they're interested in Shackley, and if they purchase $100 worth of products, you get an automatic trip to Hawaii, all expenses paid, staying at the Rainbow Tower, Waikiki, beautiful beach, beautiful ocean. You can go snorkeling every day. All you have to do, person you're talking to, they're interested in Shackley, and if they buy $100 worth of products, you got the trip. And they say, well, I think I'm interested in basic case. You wouldn't say, well, good. You would say, good for you. What are you interested in? That's fantastic. There's 2 compliments right there. 2 compliments. Well, I'm interested in a product that, as you said, everything I've read about it is that it's environmentally friendly. Boy, that is fantastic. You noticed that. Compliment, compliment, compliment. It's not being phony. What would happen if you wouldn't compliment your kids? They'd end up not wanting to talk to you about anything. So when they say they did something, whether it's in sports or painting a picture, we compliment. But with adults, we just say, well, that was good. You see, a number of people getting started in Shaklee, they don't know a lot about Shaklee, and they compliment everybody. Because they're afraid to, somebody's going to ask them a question that they can't answer, so they just compliment. Somebody says, I think that Basic H is good. You do? Fantastic. That's great. But then you get educated. You've heard the story again and again from people saying how great Basic H is. And somebody says, well, I think the Basic H is really good. Well, that's good. It's not the same. It's not the same. And if we have an incredible, powerful vision, we will automatically compliment people more. And it's something that I work on every day because it's so easy to just talk to people and not compliment. It's so easy to get into that rut. So with fine tuning, we have shortened the time dramatically to move up in rank. Now, when everybody's just moving up in rank quickly, then the tide goes up and a lot of other people catch on and start having the belief that they can do it. But those are the three things. A vision where you feel it in home presentations, and there's 3 different levels of coaching. And this is why, like I said to the young people at the winery, I said, I went over some things that I would do, but I said, I want you guys to think about it. Because I said, your lives are going to change. You're going to be different people. Your friends are going to wonder why you're changing. They don't understand what it is, but you're different. Something's different about you. And I said, so next time we talk or before we talk, I want to know if you really want to become an excellent leader or a so-so leader. You just want to be good. And it doesn't matter to me. You tell me. Questions or comments on this? Because this is really, really important stuff. Really important. You guys have so much potential. You believe in the products. You want to help people. Wow, that's 99%. 99%. What are you thinking?
Well, and I just want to say on what you were talking about here in the end that when I was in Montana, the thing that kept coming up from everybody that knew my nephew was when they saw him, he left such a lasting impression on them because he always said, have I told you lately how much I appreciate you? And that's a compliment of, it's an extreme compliment, I think. But saying that was just part of who he was with everybody. And that has just burned in my brain. And the other one was, have I told you lately how much I love you? Those 2 things, and I'm finding it in a lot of conversation now. It's just hearing it over and over. I guess because I heard it over and over and over, and I have a thick brain. I heard it so many times that now it's like, that impressed me so much to hear that I want to share that with other people because we all appreciate people. So I wanted to share that.
That's so important, and it is very, very important. And we're very saddened about the loss of your nephew. How old was he?
He was 35 with 3 kids.
35 with 3 kids, caught in an avalanche.
Yes.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. And when you hear stories like that, pardon me, go ahead.
I said he made such an impression on people.
Yeah. It's just such a good habit. It's a good thing to develop.
Yeah.
It's not being phony. It's just a good thing to do. And that's why it's not just going to be for Shaklee. It's for your whole life. It's when you go into the supermarket. It's when you go into Lowe's, Home Depot, or whatever. You're going to have a different attitude. You're going to find people saying hi to you that don't know you. I have it all the time. I see somebody, if we make any type of an eye contact, they say hi. They don't know me and I don't know them. but we all have an energy that people feel. We all feel it from other people. You feel it with other people. I feel it with people when I go past them. They're standing on a corner and they say, I'm hungry and I want some food. They just don't have that energy. I mean, it's hard to even want to communicate with them. And we also feel it when people walk in the room and they have incredible energy. You just feel it. And so that's what's going to be more attractive than anything else. And so people with the vision have that energy. People without the vision, they perish themselves.
Roland, that's like in Costco, being a membership clerk. I have a lot of members that come up to me, and as they're walking out, they're yelling, "Bye, Sharon, see you next time." And it's like, okay, see you next time. And while I'm signing up the person, the lady goes, "Are you a manager?" I go, "No." And she's like, You've been with me for 5 minutes and 6 people have said goodbye and 2 hugs. Can I get a hug?" So it is compliments. The world's too negative now. We need more compliments.
That's a great point, Sharon. That's why it is so powerful to compliment people today, because turning on the TV, I mean, everybody is so critical. You don't hear any compliments. It's all negative stuff from everybody. And Facebook and so on, where people talk about something's going on in their life and they got 10 people then giving a bunch of suggestions as to what they can do to change it. And so here we can come along to this extreme that people are craving for and just compliment. Like I was explaining, once again, going back to the winery thing, but I said, people come in the door and you can be standardly good. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. This is good. Or when they walk in the door, you can compliment them and make them a king or a queen. Or they come in with their kids and say, "Wow, you got your family. How wonderful. How many children do you have?" Totally a different experience. And I know, Sharon, that's what you did with people at Costco. Is that right? You'd talk about their kids. You'd compliment them on whatever. I know you did. You're good at it.
Questions.
That's right.
Do you have the executive card? You get 2% cash back.
That's right. Absolutely. Other
Roland?
comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say that I was talking with Kathy Alleman last week. We were talking about finding housing in Las Vegas. But then we got talking about Shackley, and it's just dawning on me that we can pay a really, really high, big compliment to our wonderful company, Shackley, by doing well and producing and following through with what we say we're going to do. And so we kind of talked about what was going on in the field and what we could be doing and should be doing, and that was really good. And then I was really blessed before we got off the phone, and I rarely talk with Kathy. I mean, we used to see each other in Michigan and Indiana and stuff, but separated by miles, we're not together that much. But she paid me a wonderful compliment, and it really made my day. All day long that day, I was just cheerful on the inside and really rejoicing. It was neat. And I think as I look at everybody in front of me on this screen, the Zoom bunch of people, we are all builders. Because we get discouraged too, we can enjoy and benefit the compliments and encouragement from each other. It's not just for those who we're working with to help them grow, but it's amongst ourselves. What an opportunity opportunity to really boost people to believe in themselves and to believe that they can be what their goal is to be. And so I just had that thought that I wanted to pass that along.
That's a fantastic thought and a great experience you had. There's nothing like having that experience that really makes your day and makes you aware of the importance of doing that for other people as well. Thank you for that. Any other comments on this or on the three things that are so important, so necessary, or how you get that vision? You know, like I do a call every Monday with the key coordinators, and the question I'm going to ask them on the next call is how many key coordinators have planned their talk and written out their talk in some way that they're going to give to the master coordinators when they're recognized as master coordinators. Have you planned your talk that you're going to give when you're on stage recognized as a new master coordinator? If they have not planned their talk, then they're not going to be moving up to master very fast. They're just some little things that as a leader, see, this is all also about becoming a good leader and a good coach. It's not just being coachable, it's learning how to be a good coach. And as a good coach, you will start hearing things that maybe you don't hear now. But I always ask a few questions, and with those few questions, I can find out right away whether they've made that, they have a vision. And many people believe they do. Anybody else?
Roland?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick word about the first of those, or about the coaching. As you referenced, Pam and I made a decision last week, and it wasn't a glib one. We talked to you about doing the the fine-tuning coaching, and said we'd get back to you in a day or two, because that's a serious commitment on both of our parts. So we did, and said yes, we wanted to do it. And it's only been a few days since then, but it's been really helpful. Like I was going to have a one-on-one that did actually materialize today. Had a meeting with that guy, and I already knew what I was going to do with it. But I thought, you know what? Roland's coaching me. I'm going to run this by him. I'm going to run it by you, and I did. And you were very gracious and asked me if you could share some other ideas, and I said yes, which you did, and kind of pointing me in a different direction for it. And my first thought was, gee, I've been doing this a long time. That's not what I wanted to do. But I did exactly what you said, and it went really well. And as it turned out, because of some things I found out about him, he had previous experience with another MLM that I wasn't aware of. It was really good that I didn't sail ahead with a napkin presentation, but went through exactly the kind of format you had talked about. And so it's still, you know, I mean, the jury's still out on it, but it ended up being a very positive meeting. And so I'm just saying to the rest of us, now I've done a lot of one-on-ones over the years. And so you can think, well, I don't really need any coaching on how to do a one-on-one with someone. But it was really helpful for me to have that conversation with you. So that's both a thanks to you for doing it, and just a word to all of us that having someone else in that role where you get to run through things and then afterwards debrief how did it go is tremendously helpful.
Well, thank you for that, Dick. And I don't have all the answers, but sometime when you get input from somebody, especially if they have some experience, then you can kind of talk about it and come up with what would be the best thing to do. And the thing also that people must learn is that if you picture what you're going to be covering with that person, I don't know if you believe this or not, but you will be sending them messages based on the comments and the questions you'll be asking. Just like we know that I had, as an example, I had somebody that I have not talked to in 10 years, off and on customer. I just thought about this person, just thought about her. And she called me on the phone. I mean, we do pass signals to people.
Yep.
And so I prepare the questions and I prepare their answers. I prepare their answers. It's not that they can't think, but many people are kind of on the fence. And so I help to prepare their answers. And so that is another powerful thing that happens when we have the vision, and I start picturing the situation with that person. I start picturing where they're going to be seated, where I'm going to sit. I picture sitting in their living room. I picture it, and then I can ask questions. I can figure out the questions I'm going to ask, but I picture their answers. Very powerful. Any other last comments on this? This is something we want to continue talking about. Go ahead, Marion.
Well, last week we had a conversation. What I wanted, and the coaching was from Roland. I was getting ready to sit down with someone. And you know what? I'm close to them. I know them, but, I just wasn't sure. So I had him to call into my conference line because I want to hear it again because he talks too fast for me. But anyhow, when we got done, then I got back on that thing and I listened to it again and I heard stuff I didn't even hear when we were on, the line together. So I would encourage you, use the conference line. Maybe you're not as slow as I am, but it was very, very helpful to me.
Well, that's another great point that you made, Marion, and that is that, many of these people, we're very close to these people, we know them. And sometimes we have a little frustration with them. And so we kind of like to bong them on the head. And so that way, it could be someone that I'm not that close to. I don't know them. I don't talk to them as much as you talk to them. And so I'm looking at it from less of an emotional point of view. And so that's why it can be helpful as well. So that's a great comment that you made about that. Okay, folks, we've been on for about an hour, and this has been fantastic. It really is. I just feel so good about all of you and what you're thinking, what you're saying, the questions you're asking, and we're just going to have a wonderful, wonderful time together. I hope and believe that all of you that are on this Zoom, we're going to have a wonderful time in Costa Rica. It's very important to figure out how you're going to qualify for the points. I know I asked Maggie, I said, would you look at the points and figure out how you're going to qualify? And because if somebody else, if that person figures it out for themselves, they remember it. If you do it for them, then they don't remember it. So the next day, there it was, all figured out. And she said, I know how I can get 600 points and $1,500. And so as we discover, as we move ahead to different things we're doing, we'll be able to share those wonderful things. But let's plan on an incredible, incredible lunch in Costa Rica. Okay? A wonderful lunch. And I'm going to check out some places that we can all have lunch and have a wonderful time, but let's plan on that. Okay? So please bring your ideas, things that you're learning, things that you're doing, your creativity. Please bring it on the next Zoom because they're just going to keep getting better and better as people keep exploring and moving ahead. So thank all of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Roland.
Thanks, Roland.
Thank you. You're welcome.